Welcome to Breaking Boundaries, brought to you by Women's Cricket Zone. I am Snehal Pradhan, former India cricketer. With me is Karunya Keshav, co-author of The Fire Burns Blue, the history of Indian women's cricket. And we're not talking about the Indian team today. The Indian team did not play today. There were a couple of games in St. Lucia, though. Thank God that your prayers seem to have worked, and the heavens have opened up. The rain has stayed away more or less, and two complete games in St. Lucia. First, England taking on Bangladesh, coming off with a win. Interestingly, using three left arm spinners. I think that is the most interesting talking point in that match.
And all really young left arm spinners as well. One of them was from Scotland. She's pretty experienced. I think she made her debut for Scotland when she was 14. Now she's 20, 21, I think. And yeah, she has player of the match in her debut for England.
Yes, Kirstie Gordon coming away with the player of the match honors, and it's interesting that England chose to go in with three left arm spinners, especially if you contrast it to how their fast bowlers did. Anya Shrubsole was swinging the ball a mile. Natalie Siver was getting some good outswing. And if you look at the match after that, South Africa with their five pace bowlers really dominated Sri Lanka, and they had the Sri Lankan batters hopping everywhere. So it's very interesting to see this contrast.
So we've spoken so much about how spin is going to be important in West Indies, how these wickets are slow, they stay low. But it's been surprising how South Africa have been one of those teams that have gone with such a pace-heavy attack, and they're having pretty good success. I think the conditions at St. Lucia, which because of the rain makes it maybe harder for the spinners to grip the ball, and plus the surface itself because of the moisture, what it does for the fast bowlers, it seems to have worked really well because Cap and Ismail were probably we know that they're one of the best opening bowling pairs, and today they showed it again.
Yeah, it is just like one of my favorite things in women's cricket to watch Marizan Kaap. I mean, just such a small run up and such explosive pace. Shabnam Ismail hitting a pace of 124 k's per hour. And there is a little bit of grass in the St. Lucia wicket. Of course, since there's rain around, there is moisture in the air. It'll be slightly cooler, which all these conditions assist swing bowling a little bit. And that's why we're seeing not only swing in the air, but movement off the pitch, which again then makes you question why England are going in with all those spinners when maybe they can bring in an extra seamer, but they've now lost Catherine Brunt. So a little bit of they have. But Jenny Gunn, really, I wouldn't count her as a seamer. So it's an interesting question it's an interesting contrast between those two teams. And today, both those teams, England and South Africa, coming away with wins, getting points on the board. So Group A is starting to take shape. Group B, I think, will take shape tomorrow because we have two critical matches. First, Ireland against Pakistan, and that might be their own little final because that might decide who is last in the group and therefore who has to go through qualification for the next World T20.
Ireland have made no bones about the fact that this is the match they're targeting. I'm curious to see how Pakistan come out to this match because Ireland have said so much about it. So Pakistan will know that this is the match they cannot afford to lose.
Yeah, so that's the thing. When Ireland are playing against every other team, they play with a nothing to lose attitude. But tomorrow when they're playing Pakistan, they're going to be playing with an everything to lose attitude. And I just wonder how much that will change their gameplay, that will change their style. They're going up against a team which is very spin heavy, which will probably play at least three spinners, maybe four, probably four considering it's Ireland, they're not used to spin. But then Ireland have beaten Sri Lanka in the warm-up games, so they have experience beating a team with spin. So they will go into the match with that confidence. And the match after that is essentially the big one in the group, a huge rivalry, Australia-New Zealand, which might really tell us who goes forward into the semi-finals just tomorrow itself.
So New Zealand have traditionally had some sort of success against Australia in the shorter format, especially in recent years. But their most recent T20I series went completely Australia's way. So where we've seen in the past few months that a lot of teams have raised their T20I game, New Zealand somehow there's a sense that they've sort of stepped back. And they will hope that tomorrow is the time when their big guns fire because it is a kind of top-heavy attack. They will want their Susie base. They will want Sophie Devine to fire. And maybe they will break this run of losses that they've had.
you get the feeling that New Zealand don't know exactly what their best 11 is. And Australia, they're very clear as to who is going to be playing what role and is going to be playing it at what time. You can almost predict what is going to happen judging by the condition of the match and the options that they have, the bowlers that they have. New Zealand have lost their last 6 T20 internationals. That is a tremendously poor record for a team that before that had lost only one of their last 14 T20 internationals. So it's a bit of a turnaround, a team which is going through transition. So tomorrow, remember, in case Australia beat New Zealand, New Zealand will effectively be out of the tournament. India will have 1 foot and maybe 1.5 feet in the semi-finals. They'll then need to beat Ireland after that. But if
New Zealand win.
if New Zealand win, then it gets
Then
complicated.
it gets complicated because likely we'll have a three-way tie between Australia, New Zealand, and India, and it will come down to net run rate. And then looking further forward, it would mean that India need to beat Ireland by a considerable margin to bring their net run rate up.
So lots happening in Group B tomorrow. It is going to be a very exciting day. You make sure you guys are following all the updates on Women's Cricket Zone, and we will be bringing you all live coverage throughout the tournament. Stay tuned to the site, stay tuned to all the social media handles, and we will be meeting you very soon. Before that, don't forget to pre-order a copy of Karunya and Siddhant Patnaik's book. It will be a tremendous read. I am guaranteeing it. See you next time. Tomorrow after the games, we will be looking back and we'll be back with Breaking Boundaries.